Tokyo did not announce itself with magic. It announced itself with sound. Cars hissed on wet streets. Neon signs blinked. A train rumbled far away, like a steady drum. And then, between two tall buildings, something bright fell out of the sky. It was not a meteor. It was small and clean, like a drop of blue glass. It hit the alley floor with a soft splash. For one quiet second, there was nothing. Then the puddle lifted itself up. A clear blue slime wobbled, looked around like a curious pet, and then smoothly shaped into a small human-looking body. Pale skin, soft blue hair, calm eyes. Simple clothes formed as if the air itself agreed to cover him. Rimuru Tempest blinked once. He took a slow breath. The air felt different. There was no familiar flood of magicules. But there was something else, a thin pressure under everything. A strange weight in the world, like rules you could not see. He took one step out of the alley. A man stumbled into the street ahead, dragging a woman by the wrist. The woman's bag had spilled open. A phone bounced and slid on the pavement. The man's other hand had a knife. His voice was loud and shaking. "Back off, I swear!" People froze. A few raised phones to film, hands trembling. Rimuru looked at the knife, then at the woman's face, then at the man's eyes. He did not rush in like a hero trying to look cool. He moved like someone solving a simple problem. A clear wall appeared between the man and the crowd. It was not flashy. It was just there, like an invisible window that turned solid. The man swung the knife at it. The blade scraped and bounced back. What? A second clear wall formed behind him, stopping him from running into traffic. Then soft blue bands slid up from the pavement like thick ribbons and wrapped his wrist, then his elbow, then his chest. They tightened just enough to stop movement. The knife clattered and spun on the street. The woman jerked free and stumbled backward. Rimuru's hand lifted, palm open. A warm, gentle barrier covered her like a coat. Her breathing slowed. "It's okay," Rimuru said. His voice was light and polite. "You're safe." The man thrashed and cursed. Rimuru tilted his head. "You were going to hurt her," Rimuru said, like he was stating a fact in a meeting. "That is not allowed." Someone in the crowd whispered, "Is he a superhero?" Another person shook their head fast. "No, that's not human." Rimuru's eyes tracked the phones pointed at him. He did not mind, but he did notice something else. A TV inside a convenience store was playing a news report. The sound was loud enough to reach the sidewalk. Another wave of criminals found dead at home. Doctors say heart failure. The public calls him Kira. Supporters say he is cleansing society. Rimuru's calm expression did not change much, but something inside him tightened. Criminals dying at home, all over the world. Same cause. Same timing. No contact. No weapon. That did not sound like normal murder. That sounded like a system. He stepped closer to the store window to hear better. People behind him murmured, and more cameras rose. In the glass, Rimuru saw his own reflection. And behind that reflection, on a rooftop across the street, something sat with its legs dangling over the edge. It looked like a tall, thin man with gray skin, yellow eyes, and a wide grin that did not belong in any human face. Rimuru's gaze flicked up. The creature stared back, amused, as if this was a show. Rimuru did not speak to it. Not yet. But his eyes narrowed a little, like he had just found the real problem. On the TV, the reporter said the name again. Kira. Rimuru whispered it, testing the sound. Kira. The creature on the roof leaned forward, interested, like it heard him. Then, far away, sirens began to rise. Blue lights flashed between buildings. Rimuru looked down at the bound attacker, then at the frightened woman. Then at the police cars coming fast. He exhaled. A new world, he said softly. And death is a weapon here. On the rooftop, the creature's grin widened. Now this is fun, it murmured, though no human heard it. El did not sit like other people. He crouched on his chair. Bare feet on the cushion, a white shirt hanging loose. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He watched a paused video frame on a large screen. A small figure with blue hair stood in the middle of a Tokyo street. Police lights washed the scene in red and blue. The crowd's phones were raised like a wall of tiny mirrors. Watari stood behind El, with a file already open. The police report says the suspect was restrained without injury, Watari said. No visible weapons used, no wires, no devices. Only clear barriers. El's fingers tapped lightly on his knee. Clear barriers, El repeated, on a case where the killer does not touch his victims. Watari did not react, but he understood the meaning. Everything was connected in El's mind. If a new factor arrived, it mattered. El leaned closer to the screen. The figure's face was calm. Not scared, not excited. Calm. That calmness wasn't normal. Send the task force, El said, but don't treat him like a suspect yet. Treat him like unknown weather. Watari blinked once. Unknown weather? A storm can be beautiful, El said. It can also tear down your house. Soichiro Yagami's hand stayed steady on the steering wheel, even though his heart felt like it was running ahead of the car. He had seen enough fear in this case, enough death, enough people begging for an easy answer. Now there was a new problem, a new unknown. When the police cars arrived, the crowd pointed and shouted, talking over each other. He stopped the guy! He made a wall! He's not Kira! He's a monster! Soichiro stepped out and saw the scene with his own eyes. The attacker was bound, breathing, alive. The woman was sitting on the curb, shaking, but safe. And the blue-haired young man stood between them and the crowd, hands relaxed at his sides. Soichiro approached slowly, palms open. I'm Chief Inspector Soichiro Yagami, he said. Thank you for protecting that citizen. Can you tell me your name? The young man blinked, then bowed politely, like he was used to being respectful. My name is Rimuru, he said. I think I arrived here by accident. The way he said arrived sounded honest, not like a lie, not like a joke. Soichiro swallowed. What are you? Matsuda blurted from behind him, too loud. Soichiro shot him a look. Matsuda flinched and shut his mouth. Rimuru did not get angry. He only looked thoughtful. I am not dangerous, Rimuru said carefully. I mean, I can be dangerous if someone forces it. But I don't want to hurt people. That was not the answer Soichiro expected. It was too direct, too real. So you can be dangerous, Aizawa said, voice flat. How dangerous? Rimuru looked at him like he was answering a normal question in a normal interview. Very, Rimuru said, but I prefer not to show that in a city. Soichiro felt cold for a moment, even as the streetlights warmed his face. Honesty like that could be a threat, or it could be a promise. Rimuru, Soichiro said, choosing his words carefully. Would you come with us? We want to understand what's happening. We want to avoid panic. Rimuru glanced around at the crowd. He saw phones, fear, and curiosity. He gave a small nod. Yes, but I have a condition. Soichiro stiffened. What condition? Rimuru lifted a finger, like he was making the first point in a list. I want the woman to receive help first, he said, and the man should be arrested properly. No one should punish him on the street. Matsuda frowned. Why do you care about the criminal? Rimuru's eyes turned to Matsuda. They were not angry. They were clear. Because if you punish people without rules, Rimuru said, then you are not law. You are just violence with a badge. The street went quiet. Soichiro felt a strange, sharp respect. All right, Soichiro said. We can do that. Rimuru nodded again, as if the meeting agenda was now approved. Then he did something that made Matsuda's mouth drop open. Rimuru pulled a small notepad out of nowhere and a pen that appeared in his hand. He clicked the pen once. So, Rimuru said, looking at Soichiro, where do we begin? Should we have a formal interview? Do you have a form for arrivals from other places? Matsuda stared. He's asking for paperwork. Rimuru's expression brightened just a little. Paperwork is good. It helps everyone agree on rules. Soichiro almost laughed, then stopped himself. This was not funny, but it was also odd in a way that eased the tension. Let's begin with safety, Soichiro said, and truth. Rimuru nodded like he liked those words. Light Yagami watched the same street video later that night, in his bedroom with the door locked. His posture was perfect. His face was calm. His eyes did not show fear. But inside his mind, something moved, fast and sharp. That thing is not normal, Light thought. It was not Kira's power. It was not the Death Note. It was something else, something that could break patterns. Light paused the video where the barrier appeared. No devices, no tricks, no wires, real power. He felt a thrill. Then he crushed it down. Do not panic, he told himself. Panic is weakness. Ryuk lounged near the ceiling, upside down, chewing an apple like it was a snack at a movie. So, Ryuk said, is this your new problem? Light did not look up. He did not need to. He knew where Ryuk was. It's a variable, Light said, and variables can be used. Ryuk laughed softly. Or variables can ruin your game. Light's eyes narrowed. No, he said, everything can be used. He rewound the clip again. The creature, Rimuru, did not look like a hero chasing praise. He looked like someone building a system. That could be dangerous to Kira's world, or it could be the perfect tool. Light leaned forward, elbows on knees, voice quiet. If he cares about rules, Light said, then I will show him what happens when rules fail. Ryuk's grin widened. I like where this is going. The task force room felt like it always did these days. Tense, crowded, and tired. But now there was also something else. Curiosity. Rimuru sat at the table politely, hands folded. He looked young, but his eyes did not. His eyes looked like they had seen too much to be surprised by much. El's voice came through a speaker. Calm, oddly gentle. Rimuru, El said. Are you human? Rimuru answered without drama. No. Are you from Japan? No. Are you from Earth? Rimuru paused, like he was choosing the simplest truth. I was born on Earth, Rimuru said, but I lived in a place that is not on this Earth. Explain, El said. Rimuru lifted a finger again. I lived as a human, he said. Then I died. Then I became a slime with skills. I gained power. I built a home for people who had nowhere else. Humans and monsters. Together. Matsuda blinked hard. You died and came back? Rimuru nodded once. Yes. El was silent for a beat. What is your goal in this world? El asked. Rimuru looked around at the faces. He saw fear in Matsuda's eyes, suspicion in Aizawa's, exhaustion in Mogi's, hope and pain in Soichiro's. My goal is to not make things worse, Rimuru said, and to understand your rules. Rules, El repeated. Rimuru's mouth twitched slightly, almost a smile. Yes, Rimuru said. Rules decide if a world becomes safe or becomes a place where strong people do whatever they want. Aizawa leaned forward. And what happens if we decide you are too dangerous? Rimuru looked at him, calm as before. "Then you will try," Rimuru said, "and you will fail." Matsuda choked on air. Soichiro lifted a hand. "Rimuru." Rimuru turned to him right away, respectful again. "I'm sorry," Rimuru said. "That sounded rude. I only meant, I don't want to fight you, but I won't pretend I'm weak." El's voice stayed steady, but the room felt colder. "Honesty is useful," El said, "but it is also frightening." Rimuru nodded. "Yes," El continued. "Do you know anything about Kira?" Rimuru's eyes flicked to the TV in the corner, now muted. "I heard the name," Rimuru said. "I heard about people dying without contact." El's voice sharpened a little. "What do you think is happening?" Rimuru took a slow breath. "In my old world," Rimuru said, "there are skills that can kill from far away. There are curses. There are spirits. There are names that have power. If your world has a killer like that, then you are not only fighting a person. You are fighting a method." Mogi frowned. "A method?" Rimuru nodded. "A system of killing." El was quiet again. Then he asked the key question, very softly. "Rimuru," El said, "can you be killed?" Rimuru did not react like it was an insult. He considered it like a science question. "Maybe," Rimuru said, "but not easily." "And can you kill?" El asked. Rimuru's answer came fast. "Yes." "So," El said, "why should we trust you?" Rimuru looked at the speaker, as if he could see El through it. "Because I came here, and I didn't hurt anyone," Rimuru said. "Because I stopped violence without killing. And because if I wanted to harm you, you would already be harmed." That was true. Everyone in the room understood that in the same breath. The truth sat on the table like a heavy object. Soichiro broke the silence. "We don't trust easily anymore," he admitted, "but we can start with cooperation, for now." Rimuru nodded. "That's fine." He lifted his notepad. "First," Rimuru said, "I would like to know your laws about detention, privacy, and evidence." Matsuda stared at him. "He really wants forms." Rimuru looked pleased. "Yes." Even Aizawa's mouth moved a little, like he almost smiled, and hated that he almost smiled. El's voice did not change, but there was a small pause before he spoke again. "Very well," El said. "We will begin with your rules." Watari's voice came faintly through the line, as if he was speaking to El off mic. "There is more," Watari said. "Reports from hospitals. Another sudden death." El's tone sharpened. "Describe it," El said. Watari hesitated. It did not look normal. The doctor said the heart stopped, but the body did not behave like the other Kira cases. It was as if the patient was half awake and half gone. Rimuru's head lifted. "Half gone," Rimuru repeated. His eyes narrowed again, the way they had when he saw the strange creature on the rooftop. "Where is the hospital?" Rimuru asked. Soichiro looked at the others, then answered. "Central Tokyo." Rimuru stood up smoothly. "I want to see," he said. Aizawa's hand went to his gun without thinking. Rimuru did not even glance at it. His voice stayed calm. "If Kira is changing methods," Rimuru said, "then you will need more than cameras and logic." El's voice came in, quiet and sharp. "And if you are changing the case," El said, "then I need to see what you do." Rimuru nodded once. "Then let's go," he said, like the meeting had ended, and the next step was clear. The hospital room smelled like disinfectant and fear. The patient lay still, eyes half open. The monitors beeped steadily, but the rhythm sounded wrong, like it was trying too hard to stay normal. A nurse whispered to Soichiro. "He went into cardiac arrest, but then he stabilized. He's breathing. But he's not. Here." Rimuru stood at the foot of the bed. He did not touch the patient yet. He looked first. Not with normal sight. Inside Rimuru's mind, a calm voice sorted facts like cards. Condition: unstable soul connection. Cause: external death command. Result: incomplete separation. Rimuru's eyes flicked to the air above the patient's chest. It looked normal to everyone else. To Rimuru, it looked strained, like a thin thread was being pulled. He lifted a hand slowly. "I'm going to help," Rimuru said. "Soichiro," Aizawa said under his breath. "This is insane." Soichiro's jaw was tight. "So is the world right now." Rimuru placed 2 fingers lightly on the patient's forehead. A soft blue light spread. Not bright, not flashy. Just enough to make the air feel warmer. The monitor steadied. The patient's eyelids moved. He took one deeper breath. The nurse gasped. Rimuru pulled his hand away. "He will wake up," he said. "But he will feel scared." Someone tried to pull his life away like a rope. Matsuda swallowed. "Can you undo Kira?" Rimuru looked at him. "I can stop a person from dying sometimes," Rimuru said. "But I can't erase death like it never happened. And if someone is already gone, I won't lie to you." His honesty hit again. Hard. Clean. Soichiro looked at the patient, then at Rimuru. "Thank you," Soichiro said, voice rough. Rimuru nodded, then he stiffened. His eyes lifted toward the window. Outside, night had fully settled. The city lights glittered. Nothing looked strange. But Rimuru felt it. A pressure stepped into the world. A presence. Cold, heavy, and old. His body did not shake. His voice did not rise. But the room's air seemed to tighten around him as he turned slowly. Matsuda followed Rimuru's gaze and saw nothing. "What is it?" Matsuda whispered. Rimuru spoke softly, like he was trying not to scare the humans. "There is something here," Rimuru said. "Something that doesn't belong to your police reports." The lights flickered once. The nurse yelped. Aizawa drew his gun fully now, pointing at empty air. Soichiro's hand rose in a stop gesture. "Easy." In the corner of the room, the air bent. A tall figure appeared, but only to the eyes that could handle it. Rimuru saw it clearly. It looked like a Shinigami, but not like the grinning one from the rooftop. This one was armored in dark, sharp shapes, as if its clothes were made of broken rules. Its eyes were flat, not playful. It did not speak with a mouth. Its voice landed straight inside Rimuru's head. Anomaly. Interference detected. Rimuru's expression stayed calm, but his mind moved fast. "Are you the one who kills?" Rimuru asked aloud. The humans in the room stared at him. "Who are you talking to?" Matsuda said, voice cracking. The armored Shinigami's gaze fixed on Rimuru alone. "Not the killer. The system." It lifted one hand. Lines appeared in the air, thin and black, like strings pulled tight. They snapped toward Rimuru's chest. Soichiro saw nothing, but he saw Rimuru's body shift, like he was dodging an invisible attack. Rimuru's foot slid back. A clear wall appeared between him and the empty corner. The black lines hit the wall and sparked like crushed glass. The nurse screamed and ran out. Matsuda stumbled backward into the wall. Aizawa fired at the empty corner. The bullets hit nothing and punched holes in the plaster. Rimuru raised both hands now, palms out, staying between the humans and the threat. "Stay behind me," he said, firm but not loud. Soichiro did not argue. He grabbed Matsuda's arm and pulled him back. The armored Shinigami stepped forward. This time, even the air seemed to darken around it. It raised a finger and pointed at Rimuru's face. Name. Category. Lifespan. Bind. Rimuru felt the rule trying to grab him. It was not a punch. It was a label. A forced definition. If the system could define you, it could control you. Inside Rimuru's mind, The calm voice responded instantly. Attempted classification. Failure. Subject is not human. Life is not linear. Name is not anchored. Rimuru's eyes narrowed. He did not smile. He did not boast. He simply said, "No." A blue barrier formed around him like a shell. The black rule string struck it and slid off, unable to stick. The Shinigami tilted its head. Then it changed tactics. The string shot past Rimuru and aimed for the humans behind him. Soichiro felt a sudden coldness in his spine, like someone had placed ice on his heart. He could not see the attacker, but he felt danger so clearly it made him dizzy. Rimuru moved in a blur. He did not teleport with lights. He just appeared in the right place, fast enough that the humans only saw a wind shift and a flicker of blue. He spread his arms. A wide barrier snapped into place like a door slamming shut. The black strings hit and stopped. Rimuru's voice stayed steady. "You don't touch them." The Shinigami's presence pulsed. Interference confirmed. Correction required. It raised both hands. The hospital windows rattled. Papers flew off a nearby desk. The overhead lights buzzed. Rimuru planted his feet. He built layers. One barrier, then another, each slightly different, each tuned like a lock with a different key. The pressure pushed in. The barriers held. Soichiro watched Rimuru's posture and understood something that made him sick with fear and relief at the same time. Rimuru was not panicking. He was controlling the battlefield. Rimuru spoke without looking back. "Inspector," he said, "get everyone out of this room." Soichiro's instincts screamed to stay, but his duty screamed louder. "All right," he said. "Move!" Matsuda stumbled. "But we can't see it!" "Move!" Soichiro repeated, pulling him hard. Aizawa backed out last, gun still up, eyes darting at empty air. When the door shut behind them, the hall felt too bright and too normal. Inside the room, it was just Rimuru and the rule creature. The Shinigami surged forward. Its attack did not hit like a fist. The air around Rimuru tried to turn into a command. Die. Stop. End. Rimuru felt the shape of it, and his mind broke it down. It was not raw power. It was authority. So Rimuru answered with his own kind of authority. He lifted one hand and spoke like a king who had ended wars. Enough. A blue circle expanded from his palm, clean and silent. It did not explode. It did not burn. It sealed. The Shinigami's black strings snapped back as if they hit a wall they did not understand. The armored figure jerked, like it had finally met a force that did not obey its categories. It tried to pull away. Rimuru did not chase to destroy it. He adjusted the seal so it had one exit. "Go," Rimuru said. "Tell whoever sent you that I am not your enemy, but I will not let you harm people." The Shinigami's eyes narrowed. Warning issued. "The king is watching." Then its presence folded like a shadow closing. The pressure vanished. The lights steadied. The room became a normal hospital room again, with bullet holes in the wall and papers scattered like a mess after a storm. Rimuru exhaled slowly. He looked at the sleeping patient. Then he looked at the city outside. This world had killers in notebooks, yes. But it also had something bigger behind the notebooks, something that treated lives like lines in a file. Rimuru's fingers tightened once, then relaxed. He turned toward the door. Soichiro stood in the hallway with the task force, all of them staring at the closed door, like it might bite them. They heard nothing now. No screams, no explosions. Nothing. Just silence. Then the door opened. Rimuru stepped out, clothes unruffled, expression calm. Matsuda's eyes were huge. "Did you win?" Rimuru shook his head. "I didn't win," Rimuru said. "I prevented harm." Aizawa's voice was low. What was it? Rimuru hesitated, not because he was scared, because he understood something important. If he told them death gods are real, the world might break in half. But if he said nothing, they would keep fighting blind. Soichiro watched Rimuru's face and saw that struggle. Rimuru chose a careful truth. There are beings connected to the deaths, Rimuru said. They are not human. They follow rules that are older than your laws. Mogi whispered, like spirits? Rimuru nodded once. Yes, something like that. Soichiro felt his stomach drop. El's voice crackled through Soichiro's phone. Watari must have patched him in live. Describe exactly what happened, El said. Soichiro looked at Rimuru, then answered honestly. We couldn't see the attacker, Soichiro said. But Rimuru reacted like it was right in front of him. The air changed. The lights flickered. And then it stopped. There was a pause. Then El's voice came again, still calm, but sharper than before. Rimuru, El said. Can you see what we cannot see? Rimuru looked at the phone. Yes, he said. Another pause. El spoke one more line, quiet and heavy. Then this case is no longer only about logic, El said. It is about a world with hidden rules. Rimuru's eyes drifted, for a brief second, to a dark window at the end of the hall. In the reflection, high above, on a distant rooftop, the grinning creature watched again, amused, hungry for drama. Rimuru did not react outwardly, but inside, his decision became clear. If death itself had a system here, then this was not just a murder case. It was a war over what justice was allowed to be, and Rimuru was now standing in the middle of it. The next morning, Tokyo felt louder than it should. It was not just cars and trains. It was people. Phones buzzed, TVs argued, radios repeated the same two words again and again. Blue barrier. And under that, the word everyone already feared. Kira. Soichiro stood in a small conference room inside the NPA. The blinds were half closed. Aizawa leaned on the wall with his arms crossed. Matsuda held a tablet with shaking hands because he could not stop scrolling. Look at this, Matsuda said. They're calling him an angel. No, wait, now they're calling him a demon. Now it's Kira's pet. It changes every 5 minutes. On the screen, a short clip looped. Rimuru stepping out of an alley, a clear wall appearing, a knife falling, the criminal tied up like a wrapped gift. Soichiro watched it without blinking. He saved a woman, Soichiro said. That part is real. Aizawa's voice was flat. And the rest is unknown. The door opened. A man in a suit stepped in with 2 more people behind him. Their badges were not police badges. Chief Inspector Yagami, the suit said. We are here to discuss your guest. Soichiro's shoulders tightened. He is not a guest. He is a person we are questioning. The suit smiled like he practiced it in a mirror. He is a national risk. The public has seen him. Foreign agencies will ask questions. The media is already out of control. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. And your plan is what, exactly? The suit glanced at his partners, then back. Containment. Isolation. Control of information. If possible, recruitment. If not, detention. Soichiro's jaw clenched. You're talking about him like he's a weapon. The suit's smile stayed. In our world right now, anything unknown becomes a weapon. Matsuda blurted. We don't even know if he can be arrested. He said we'd fail. The suit's eyes flicked to Matsuda, unimpressed. Soichiro spoke slowly, careful not to raise his voice. He cooperated. He asked for rules. He did not threaten anyone. Aizawa cut in. He also stopped something we couldn't see, in a hospital. That alone makes him important. The suit leaned forward. Then you understand why he cannot be left in the hands of one task force. Soichiro opened his mouth. A speaker on the table crackled before he could speak. L's voice came through, calm as always. He stays with the task force. The suit blinked. Excuse me? L did not sound offended. He never did. This case is already extraordinary, L said. Adding more teams increases leaks, fear, and mistakes. Rimuru is cooperating with us. That is rare. Do not waste it. The suit's mouth tightened. You are not in charge of national security. I am in charge of catching Kira, L replied. And right now, the blue anomaly is connected to Kira whether you like it or not. Aizawa watched the suit's expression and felt a small, cold satisfaction. People like this always wanted control. They hated being told no. So, the suit said, what are your safeguards? L answered like he had already written them down. He is under surveillance, L said. He does not leave without notice. He does not interact with media. And we keep evacuation protocols ready. Soichiro swallowed. Evacuation protocols. L paused, then added, almost as if he was being kind on purpose. We do not need to fear him if we behave rationally. The suit straightened. Rationally. Yes, of course. He turned and left, but his eyes said something else. This is not over. When the door shut, Matsuda finally exhaled. I hate suits. Aizawa looked at Soichiro. Where is Rimuru now? Soichiro's eyes flicked to the hallway. In the spare office, Matsuda frowned. Why is he in an office? Soichiro's lips pressed together. Because he requested one. Aizawa stared. He requested an office. Soichiro nodded, tired. He said he needed a place to organize information. Matsuda groaned. He's really doing it. Rimuru sat at a desk, like he owned it. He did not spread chaos. He spread papers. There were printed maps of Tokyo. There were hospital reports. There were timelines of Kira deaths that the task force had already built. There were sticky notes with simple labels like pattern, unknown, and needs consent. He held a pen and wrote in neat, calm lines. At the top of one page, he had drawn a box and labeled it Rules. Under that, a second box. People. Then a third. What hurts them? When Soichiro walked in, Rimuru looked up and smiled, small and polite. Inspector, Rimuru said. Good morning. Soichiro blinked. Good morning. I didn't expect you to start working. Rimuru tilted his head. Isn't that why you asked me to cooperate? Soichiro rubbed his forehead. Yes. I just didn't expect this. Rimuru looked genuinely pleased. I found a printer. Soichiro almost laughed and stopped himself again. He sat across from Rimuru. People are afraid, Soichiro said. Not just of Kira, of you. Rimuru's smile faded into something more serious. I understand, Rimuru said. In their eyes, I appeared out of nowhere and used powers. Soichiro hesitated. And in your eyes? Rimuru looked down at the paper where he had written, System of Killing. In my eyes, Rimuru said, this world is bleeding in a very quiet way. Soichiro's throat tightened. He understood that feeling. It was the feeling of bodies that fell with no attacker present. The feeling of a murderer who was also a symbol. You saw something in the hospital, Soichiro said. Something we can't see. Rimuru nodded. Yes. So what is it? Soichiro asked. What are we dealing with? Rimuru paused. He chose his words the way a doctor chooses them for a child. There are beings connected to death here, Rimuru said. They follow rules. Those rules can be used like a weapon. Soichiro stared. Death has rules. Rimuru's eyes were calm. Yes? Soichiro felt a chill, and Kira is using them. Rimuru did not answer directly. He did not want to claim certainty without proof, but his silence was loud enough. Then he tapped the paper. Inspector, Rimuru said, Do you have a law here about secret punishment? About killing someone without trial? Soichiro's jaw tightened. Yes, it's murder. Rimuru nodded once, firm. Then Kira is a murderer. Soichiro looked away for a second. He thought of the crowds cheering online when criminals died. He thought of the families of victims who wrote letters thanking Kira. It's complicated, Soichiro said. Rimuru's voice stayed gentle. No, people make it complicated because they are tired and scared. But the act is simple. Soichiro faced him again. If you can stop it, why don't you? Rimuru's pen froze above the paper. For the first time since arriving, his calm face showed something like weight. Because, Rimuru said, if I use force to end Kira, then I become the strongest judge here. And this world already has a problem with secret judges. Soichiro swallowed. So you want us to handle it? I want you to handle it, Rimuru said. But I will protect people while you do. He slid a page across the desk. It was titled, Cooperation Plan. Soichiro stared at it. Rimuru pointed at the first line. We agree on rules. We agree on evidence. We agree on what actions are allowed. Then we act. Soichiro looked up, half amazed, half exhausted. You're building a plan for us. Rimuru blinked. Is that strange? Soichiro let out a breath that was almost a laugh. In this case, everything is strange. Rimuru's eyes softened. Then we should use what is not strange. Simple rules. Across the city, Light Yagami watched a different screen. It was not a street video this time. It was a quiet leak, a blurry photo taken through a window. Rimuru at a desk, papers spread out, a map of Tokyo visible. Light's mouth moved into a small smile. He is organizing them. He is trying to build a system. Light did not hate systems. He loved systems. He just loved his system more. Ryuk hovered behind him, chewing an apple. You're staring again. Light's eyes stayed on the screen. He's not a fighter type, not the way people expect. Ryuk snorted. He fought that armored guy. Light's fingers tapped the desk. He didn't destroy it. He sealed it and let it go. Ryuk's grin widened. Mercy? Light's smile faded. Hesitation. Ryuk leaned close. So what's your plan? Write his name? Light's eyes narrowed. He thought of the way Rimuru said he could be dangerous, the way he moved without fear, the way the hospital lights flickered. Death notes work on humans, Light said. We don't know what he is. Ryuk shrugged like it didn't matter. Try and see. Light's voice sharpened. No, I don't waste moves. He leaned back. His face returned to calm. If I can't remove him, Light said, then I shape him. Ryuk laughed softly. You want to recruit the slime? Light ignored the word slime. He cares about rules, Light said. So I will show him a world where rules fail. Then I offer him a better rule. Ryuk's eyes gleamed. Your rule. Light's voice was quiet and proud. My justice. Later that day, L requested a private meeting. Not with Soichiro. Not with the whole task force. Only Rimuru. The location was plain. A small room. 1 table. 2 chairs. A camera in the corner. Another camera behind a one-way glass. Rimuru entered first. He sat politely. A minute later, L walked in. In person, L looked smaller than most people expected. Thin, barefoot, hair messy, eyes heavy but sharp. He sat across from Rimuru and stared without blinking. Rimuru met his gaze calmly. L spoke first. You said you don't want to become a judge. Rimuru nodded. Yes, but you already are, L said. Rimuru blinked. How? You decide when to interfere, L said. You decide who is protected. You decide what force is used. Rimuru's voice stayed even. I protect people from harm. That is not judging. L tilted his head slightly. It is choosing. Rimuru paused. He did not deny it. He respected logic. Yes, Rimuru said. It is choosing. L leaned forward. Then tell me your line, L said. What would make you kill? Rimuru's eyes narrowed a little, not angry. Focused. If someone tries to kill many innocents, Rimuru said, and there is no other way. L's voice was flat. So you can be pushed? Rimuru nodded. Yes. L watched him for a long moment. Do you get bored? L asked. The question was so sudden that Rimuru almost smiled. Sometimes, Rimuru admitted. L's eyes sharpened. Boredom is dangerous. Rimuru's smile faded. Yes, it can be. L tapped the table once with a finger. If Kira cannot kill you, he may try to break you another way. Rimuru asked quietly, and if Kira can kill me? L did not look away. Then we must assume you are already in danger. Rimuru's mind moved fast. He understood the warning behind the words. This human was not afraid to tell hard truths. Rimuru nodded once. Then we should find Kira quickly. L's voice remained calm. Agreed. He paused, then asked, Can you see Shinigami? Rimuru did not flinch at the word. So, L already suspected the name. Yes, Rimuru said. L's eyes narrowed. How many have you seen? Rimuru thought of the grinning one on the rooftop, thought of the armored one. 2, Rimuru answered. L held that number in his mind like a piece of evidence. Can you describe them? Rimuru described them simply. Yellow eyes, wide grin, another one armored, cold, like a guard. L listened without interruption. When Rimuru finished, L said, You are not lying. Rimuru blinked. You can tell? L's mouth did not change, but his eyes did. I can tell when you are not trying to trick me. Rimuru nodded. I am not. L leaned back. I will be direct, L said. I do not trust you fully. Rimuru answered just as direct. That is reasonable. L stared again. But I also believe you are not Kira. Rimuru's eyes softened slightly. Thank you. L's voice was quiet. That is not praise. It is a temporary conclusion. Rimuru almost smiled again. Understood. L stood up. I will have Watari provide you with case files. Full access. But if you interfere without informing us, I will treat you as a threat. Rimuru stood too. Agreed. As L walked to the door, he paused. One more thing, L said. Rimuru waited. L spoke softly, like he was talking to himself as much as to Rimuru. Kira is not only killing, L said. He's building a world where people ask him for permission to live. Rimuru's face went still. That, Rimuru said, is something I cannot accept. L opened the door. Then we have the same enemy. That evening, Rimuru visited a family support center with Soichiro's permission. The building was small, the lighting was soft, the chairs were cheap. The people inside looked tired in a way that sleep would not fix. A mother sat with a photo in her hands. It was her son, teenager, smiling. He made one mistake, she whispered to the counselor. He stole something stupid. He was trying to act tough. He didn't hurt anyone. Now he's dead. And people online said, Good. Rimuru stood in the hallway and listened. He did not interrupt. He did not speak like a god. He just listened like a person who understood what it meant to lose someone and not even get a fair goodbye. Soichiro watched Rimuru's face and saw the problem forming. Rimuru cared. That was good. And it was dangerous. After they left, Soichiro spoke in the parking lot. You didn't have to come, he said. Rimuru's voice was quiet. Yes, I did. Soichiro looked at him. Why? Rimuru looked up at the city lights. In my world, Rimuru said, monsters were hunted because people were afraid. Humans were also hurt because monsters were angry. I learned that fear makes simple solutions look good. He paused. Kira is a simple solution, Rimuru said, and it is poisoning your world. Soichiro's hands clenched. How do we stop it? Rimuru looked at him with calm determination. We build trust, Rimuru said. We protect witnesses. We protect the police. We reduce panic. Then Kira has less power. Soichiro blinked. That sounds like a long plan. Rimuru nodded. Yes. Soichiro's shoulders dropped. People don't like long plans. Rimuru's voice stayed steady. Then they will keep suffering until they do. Light Yagami chose his next move carefully. He did not rush at Rimuru with a speech about justice. That would be obvious. That would fail. Instead, he built a scene with the right emotions, a scene that would make Rimuru feel pressure. The next day, news spread about a violent criminal who had avoided prison again, a man with a long record, assault, extortion, a victim on the hospital bed. The case was everywhere. People were furious. They asked the same question online. Why is he still alive? Where is Kira? Then, quietly, Light arranged for Rimuru to be brought near that anger. The task force received an emergency request. The victim's family wanted to meet the blue protector they saw online. They wanted him to stop the criminal. Soichiro agreed to go, thinking it might calm the family down. Rimuru agreed, because he did not refuse people in pain. The hospital room was full. The victim's father stood near the bed, fists shaking. My daughter will never walk again, the father said. And that man is free. The law failed. So tell me, what will you do? Rimuru looked at the daughter, then at the father. I will help her recover, Rimuru said. And I will support the police to arrest the man with evidence. The father's eyes widened in rage. Evidence? He's done this before. How many more? Rimuru kept his voice calm. We still follow rules. The father slammed his hand on the bed rail. Rules didn't protect her. The room vibrated with anger. Soichiro stepped in. Sir, please. The father pointed at Rimuru. You have power. Don't talk to me about rules. Stop him. Rimuru's eyes did not harden, but they did become very clear. I will not kill him, Rimuru said. The father's face twisted. Then you're useless. The word hit the room like a slap. Rimuru did not react the way a proud warrior would. He did not threaten. He did not explode. He simply said, I am sorry you were hurt. But if I kill because I am angry, I become the same kind of problem. The father stared, stunned. Then a nurse hurried in with a phone. Her face was pale. Inspector Yagami, she whispered. It's on the news. Another death. A public one. Soichiro's stomach dropped. Who? The nurse swallowed. A talk show host. Live on air. The video spread faster than any police report. A famous host sat behind a shiny desk. He smiled, made jokes, and then leaned toward the camera. Tonight, he said, we have a special guest, a hero, the Blue Barrier Man. The clip cut, because the guest never came. Instead, the host's smile froze. His eyes widened. His hand clutched his chest. He fell forward, face hitting the desk. The studio screamed. And right before the feed cut, the camera caught something small and strange. A drop of blue liquid on the desk near the host's hand. It could have been spilled water. It could have been nothing. But the internet decided what it was within seconds. It was Rimuru. He did not have to be there. The image was enough. When Rimuru saw the clip later, his face did not change much. But something in him went cold. He knew how this worked. Not magic, not murder, narrative. Someone was telling a story to the world. Blue Protector equals death. Aizawa slammed his fist on a table at HQ. "This is a setup." Matsuda looked sick. "But people are buying it." Soichiro's voice was rough. "They want someone to blame." Sa's voice came through a speaker. "And Kira wants them to blame Rimuru." Silence filled the room. Rimuru spoke quietly. The host was healthy. Aizawa nodded. No heart problems, no warning. Rimuru's eyes narrowed. "Then it matches Kira's pattern." Matsuda blurted, "But what about the blue drop?" Rimuru looked at him. "I did not do that." Matsuda flinched. I know. But the public..." Rimuru's gaze lifted to the window, where the city lights blinked like nervous eyes. "The public will believe what is simple," Rimuru said. "And this is simple." Soichiro's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, and his face drained. He lowered the phone slowly. "The suits are back," he said. "They're issuing an order. Rimuru is to be detained in a secure facility until risk is assessed." Aizawa swore under his breath. Matsuda looked panicked. Mogi's hands tightened. Rimuru did not move. He did not shout. He just asked, "Do you think this is fair?" Soichiro's eyes burned with frustration. "No." Rimuru nodded. "Then we don't do it." Aizawa blinked. "What?" Rimuru looked at them, calm as a steady wall. "I will not run like a criminal," Rimuru said, "but I will not allow fear to become policy. Give me a legal option." Soichiro's mind raced. "Protective custody," he said. "Voluntary, within task force control. L can argue it." L's voice came tight. "Do that. Keep him close. The moment he vanishes, the world will confirm the lie." Rimuru nodded once. "Then I stay." Matsuda exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for a year. But Rimuru's eyes stayed serious. "Now," Rimuru said, "we find out who wrote this story." Somewhere above the city, Ryuk laughed quietly, invisible to all but one. And far deeper, something in the Shinigami realm stirred again. Like a rule book turning pages by itself. The next week did not feel like a week. It felt like a long day that never ended. Rimuru became a quiet shadow inside the task force's life. He did not sleep much, not because he couldn't, but because he kept choosing to work. He drew lines on maps. He built lists. He asked for simple things that made the humans stare. "Can we make an incident form?" Rimuru asked one morning. Matsuda blinked. "For what?" "For when Kira kills someone," Rimuru said. "Time, place, victim, last known contact, any media coverage." Matsuda stared. "We already do that." Rimuru nodded. "Not in one page with the same structure every time." Aizawa muttered. "He's reorganizing our suffering." Rimuru looked at him, honest. "Structure helps people think when they are tired." Soichiro watched this and realized something important. Rimuru was not trying to control them. He was trying to give them a rope to hold while they climbed out of a hole. And the strange part was, it worked. Their meetings became cleaner. Their reports became faster. Their arguments became shorter because Rimuru kept bringing them back to the main point. "What is the goal?" he would ask. Matsuda started joking that Rimuru was going to make them wear uniforms with name tags and committee roles. Rimuru's eyes would brighten. "Name tags are useful," he said once, fully serious. Aizawa groaned. "Don't encourage him." Even L, through the speaker, paused a fraction longer than usual when Rimuru proposed a witness protection plan. "Explain," L said. Rimuru explained it in plain steps. "We identify witnesses who might be targeted," Rimuru said. "We move them to safe apartments. I create barriers that do not look suspicious. We limit who knows the locations. We track leaks." L's voice stayed calm. "You want to build safe houses across Tokyo?" Rimuru nodded. "Yes," Matsuda whispered. He's building a mini-kingdom. Rimuru heard him. A safe city, he corrected. Soichiro felt hope. Small, careful hope. Then another person died. Not a criminal. A young woman who had spoken online against Kira. She died at a crosswalk, clutching her chest, falling in front of strangers. Her last act, according to a witness, was to look up at the sky and whisper, "Blue. Liar." Rimuru watched the report with a still face. He did not believe in coincidences anymore. Someone was writing these deaths like messages. And the messages were aimed at him. Misa Amane first saw Rimuru as a headline. Blue Angel or Blue Devil? She sat on her bed with her phone close to her face, eyes shining. "He's beautiful," she whispered. Rem stood behind her, silent and heavy, like a storm cloud that chose to be a person. Misa giggled. "He's like a fantasy character, like he fell out of a game." Rem's eyes narrowed. "Do not be foolish," Misa pouted. "I'm not foolish. I can tell when someone is special." She scrolled and stopped on a photo of Rimuru leaving the NPA building with Soichiro. Rimuru's expression looked polite, tired, determined. Misa's smile softened. "He looks kind." Rem's voice was low. "Kind people can be used." Misa rolled onto her stomach. "Everything can be used. That's what Light says." Rem's gaze sharpened at the name. Misa kept talking, unaware. "Light is going to fix the world, and if this Rimuru guy is strong, maybe Light can make him help." Rem's hands curled slightly. "Do not bring that creature close to Light." Misa blinked. "Why?" Rem did not answer fully. Rem was not allowed to explain everything, but Rem could warn. "Because," Rem said, "your life is already on a knife's edge. Do not add another blade." Misa sat up. "Rem, you're always so serious." Rem's eyes did not move. "I must be." Misa smiled again and tapped her phone. A private message popped up. From Light. "Meet me tomorrow. Important." Misa's heart leaped. "Yes." Rem's eyes darkened. Rimuru visited a victim support center again, this time with a clear purpose. He wanted to understand what Kira did to the families left behind. Not only the families of victims of criminals, the families of the criminals too. He sat across from an elderly man whose son had been killed by Kira for theft. "My boy stole money," the man said, voice shaking. "I know it was wrong, but he was hungry. He was stupid. He was my boy." Rimuru listened, hands folded, eyes steady. "People online said good," the man whispered. "They said Kira saved the world, but my world ended." Rimuru's voice was soft. "I'm sorry." The man looked at him sharply. "Are you Kira?" Rimuru did not flinch. "No." "Did you kill the host?" the man asked. Rimuru met his eyes. "No." The man stared, searching for a lie. Then he sagged. "Then, why are you here?" Rimuru answered simply. "Because your pain is part of the case." The man's brow furrowed. "How?" Rimuru's voice stayed calm. "A world that cheers secret death becomes a world where anyone can be killed, and the crowd will clap." The man swallowed. "So what do you do?" Rimuru looked down at his own hands. "In my world," Rimuru said, "I built a place where even enemies could become citizens if they changed." The man scoffed weakly. "That sounds like a fairy tale." Rimuru nodded once. "It sounds like work." He stood up and bowed to the man. "Thank you for speaking," Rimuru said. "Your words matter." As Rimuru walked out, he felt it again. That thin pressure in the air. A presence watching him. Not the grinning one this time. Something quieter. Like the world's rules were leaning closer to see what he would do next. Light's plan did not require killing Rimuru. It required squeezing him. He used deaths like arrows, not to win a fight, but to steer a crowd. He had the death note, he had time, he had patience when it mattered. Ryuk floated near him, amused. You're doing a lot of work for someone you claim is just a variable. Light wrote a name calmly. A variable that can break my world is not just anything. Ryuk laughed. You're scared. Light's pen paused for half a second. I'm not scared, Light said. Ryuk leaned in. Then why are you targeting him like this? Light's eyes narrowed. Because if people see him as a savior, they will ask him for justice instead of me. Ryuk's grin widened. Ah, jealous? Light's voice went cold. No, strategic. He closed the death note and stood. Now, Light said, we move to the next stage. Ryuk's eyes gleamed. The pretty girl stage? Light did not answer, but his silence was enough. The kidnapping attempt did not start with a scream. It started with a van door. Misa stepped out of a studio building after a late shoot, surrounded by 2 assistants and 1 bored security guard. She adjusted her coat, humming, already thinking about tomorrow's meeting with Light. A man across the street stared too long. Misa didn't notice. She was used to fans. The man raised a phone, then turned away, walking fast. Another man stepped out from behind a parked car. A third appeared near the van. Then the security guard frowned and reached for his radio. He started. A hand covered his mouth from behind. Misa's assistant screamed. The other assistant froze. Misa turned, eyes wide, finally understanding. A van door slid open. Someone grabbed her arm hard. Get in, a voice hissed. Misa's heart slammed in her chest. She tried to pull back, but she was small, and the grip was strong. Rem's presence flared behind her like a silent warning. But Rem could not simply fix everything. Shinigami rules were cruel. Shinigami had limits, and Misa was human. Misa stumbled, half-dragged toward the van. Then the air changed. A clear wall appeared between the van and Misa, like an invisible sheet of glass. The kidnapper slammed into it face first with a dull thud. He bounced back, stunned. What the? Misa's eyes snapped up. Across the sidewalk, Rimuru stood with one hand raised. His expression was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He had been nearby with Soichiro, checking a safe house location. He had felt the sudden spike of fear. He had turned. He had seen a girl being taken. He had acted. Let her go, Rimuru said. The kidnapper's head snapped toward him. One of them cursed. It's him! The blue freak! Misa stared at Rimuru like he was a miracle with a face. He's real, she whispered. Rimuru stepped forward. The kidnappers pulled out knives. One pulled a gun, shaking. Rimuru's hand moved slightly. The gun's slide locked. The trigger would not move. The man squeezed harder, panicking. Nothing happened. Rimuru did not smile. Stop, he said. One kidnapper swung a knife at the barrier, screaming like rage could cut glass. It didn't. Rimuru lifted his other hand. Blue bands rose from the pavement and wrapped around ankles and wrists. 2 kidnappers fell, hitting the sidewalk hard. A third ran. Rimuru did not chase like a predator. He simply flicked his wrist. A barrier rose in front of the runner. The man slammed into it and collapsed, groaning. Misa's assistants stared, mouths open. Phones rose from nearby strangers as soon as they realized something incredible was happening. A teenager shouted, "Record it! It's the blue guy!" Soichiro pushed through the small crowd that had formed, breath hard. "Rimuru," he called. "What happened?" Rimuru kept his eyes on the bound kidnappers. "Attempted abduction," he said. 4 suspects. Soichiro's gaze snapped to Misa. She stood frozen, shaking, eyes wide and shining at the same time. "Are you hurt?" Soichiro asked. Misa's voice trembled. No. She stared at Rimuru and took a step forward without thinking. "You saved me," she whispered. Rimuru turned to her. His expression softened a little. "Yes," he said. You were in danger. Misa's hands rose to her chest. Thank you. Thank you so much. Behind her, Rem's presence sharpened. Rimuru's eyes slid past Misa's shoulder. He saw Rem clearly, tall, dark, heavy with purpose, not playful like the rooftop one, protective. Rimuru did not react with shock, but he did react with understanding. This girl has one attached to her, Rimuru thought. That means she is close to the notebook. Rem's voice entered his mind, low and warning. Do not come close to her. Rimuru answered silently, calm and firm. I am not here to hurt her. Rem's gaze narrowed. You do not understand this world's game. Rimuru's eyes stayed on Rem for a brief second, then returned to Misa. I'm glad you're safe, Rimuru said gently. Misa smiled, trembling. You're amazing. Who are you? Soichiro tensed. This was dangerous. Too public. Too many phones. Rimuru chose a simple truth. My name is Rimuru, the crowd murmured. Phones zoomed in. Misa's eyes lit up. Rimuru. That's cute. Aizawa would have hated that sentence if he were there. Soichiro almost did. But he understood Misa didn't mean harm. Police sirens approached. Rimuru stepped back slightly, creating space. I will give statements, he said to Soichiro, but we should move her away from cameras. Soichiro nodded fast. Yes. Good. As officers arrived and cuffed the bound kidnappers, the crowd kept filming. By the time Misa was guided inside, the story had already spread. Blue Barrier Man saves pop star from kidnappers. And under that, like poison mixed into sugar, Kira's angel protects the chosen. In a quiet car later, Misa hugged her arms tight and stared at her phone. Her live stream clips were everywhere. Fans screamed in comments. People called Rimuru a hero. Others called him a fake. And then there were the comments that chilled even her. Kira's justice saved her. Kira sent him. That blue guy is with Kira. Misa's lips parted. With Kira. She thought of Light. She thought of his calm voice, his perfect logic. Her heart fluttered. If Rimuru joins Light, the world will be safe forever. Rem's voice cut through her thoughts like a blade. No. Misa flinched. Rem! Rem's eyes were hard. You are being pulled. Misa frowned. Pulled by what? Rem's voice lowered. By a boy who writes names. Misa's breath caught. She looked away, pretending not to understand, but her hands tightened around her phone. Rem stared out the window at the dark city. I will not let you die for his dream, Rem said. Misa whispered, but Light loves me. Rem's eyes narrowed. He loves his dream. Back at HQ, Elle watched the kidnapping footage in silence. Rimuru's barriers were clean, controlled, non-lethal. The crowd reaction was loud, emotional, easy to shape. Elle's thumb pressed against his lip. He has become a symbol, Elle murmured. Watari stood behind him. Is that good? Elle's eyes did not leave the screen. It is useful, and it is dangerous. On another monitor, a live poll ran on a news site. Do you trust the blue man? Yes. No. He is Kira's ally. The last option kept rising. Elle's gaze sharpened. Kira is feeding that, Elle said. Watari asked quietly, what will Kira do next? Elle's voice was calm, but the answer was heavy. He will make Rimuru fail, Elle said. If he cannot kill him, he will aim for his purpose. Rimuru sat alone in his borrowed office that night. He did not sleep. He stared at the timeline on the wall. The host's death. The activist's death. The whispered blue liar. The kidnapping attempt. The way the crowd turned it into a story. Rimuru knew stories. He had seen nations rise and fall because of them. He wrote on a fresh page, Kira is using fear. Hope as a weapon. Then, under that, target, trust. A knock came at the door. Soichiro entered, looking older than yesterday. The suits want another meeting, Soichiro said. They want to separate you from the task force. Rimuru's voice stayed calm. Because they believe the lie. Soichiro's eyes burned. I don't. Rimuru looked at him. Then we keep working. Soichiro hesitated. How? Rimuru turned the page and showed him a simple list. Safe houses, witness protection, limited leaks, public comm. Soichiro stared. You're still trying to build a system? Rimuru nodded. Yes. Soichiro's voice cracked slightly. In a world where someone kills with a pen, Rimuru's eyes were steady. Then we build something stronger than a pen. Soichiro swallowed. Trust? Rimuru nodded again. Soichiro exhaled. All right. We start tomorrow. Rimuru's expression softened. Thank you, Inspector. Soichiro left the room, and Rimuru was alone again. He looked toward the dark window. On a distant rooftop, Ryuk sat with his legs dangling, watching like this was all for him. Rimuru met his gaze. Ryuk grinned. Rimuru did not blink. He wrote one more line on the page, slow and firm. I will not let this world turn into a cage. Outside, Tokyo lights blinked, and somewhere, a notebook page turned. Not by wind, by intention. 2 weeks later, the task force room looked less like a war zone and more like a strange office. There were still boards covered in photos and dates. There were still red strings. But now there were also folders, clean labels, simple forms. Matsuda held up a sheet and groaned. Why does this say Kira Incident Form, version 6? Rimuru, sitting at the table with a pen, looked proud in the most harmless way. Because version 5 had unclear boxes. Aizawa leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. You're turning a murder case into paperwork. Rimuru nodded like that was a compliment. Structure helps people stay honest when they are scared. Soichiro watched them with tired eyes. He had not slept much in days, but for the first time in a long time, he felt like the room had a plan that did not depend on hope alone. L's voice came from the speaker. Report. Soichiro spoke. We moved 3 witnesses to safe apartments. No leaks so far. Rimuru added, I put barriers on the windows. They look like nothing. If someone breaks in, they will hit a wall they cannot see. Matsuda muttered, so the safe houses are also slime houses. Rimuru blinked. They are safe. Aizawa rubbed his temple. We get it. L stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, Kira adjusted. A screen in the room showed charts. The pattern had shifted. Fewer loud, criminal deaths. More targeted deaths. A journalist. A blogger. A police informant. Not public cleansing. Pressure. Rimuru's calm face tightened slightly. He's trying to cut your eyes out. Soichiro's chest felt heavy. Yes. L's voice stayed steady. And he is trying to cut your symbol down. Matsuda swallowed. The blue liar thing is still spreading. Soichiro glanced at Rimuru. The rumor had become a weapon. People filmed him even when he walked from one building to the next. Some waved. Others cursed. Some prayed. Some threatened. Rimuru did not show anger, but Soichiro could see the strain. Rimuru was strong enough to stop tanks, but he could not erase fear from millions of minds with a barrier. L spoke again. Rimuru, your full name. Rimuru blinked, then answered simply. Rimuru Tempest. The room went quiet for a beat. It was not the name itself. It was the way it sounded, like a title you could put on a flag. Tempest, Matsuda repeated. That's dramatic. Rimuru looked confused. It is just my name. L's voice sharpened slightly. We will record it. For official documents. Rimuru nodded. That's fair. Soichiro noticed something. Light, who sometimes visited as part of the task force support, had not come by in days. His absence felt like a shadow that moved when you didn't look. L continued. "We will run a test." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "What kind of test?" L answered. "A trap that forces Kira to show his limits." Matsuda's face went pale. "Isn't every trap we run a risk?" L replied. "Yes, that is why Rimuru is essential." Rimuru leaned forward slightly. "Explain." L's voice was calm, but the plan was sharp. "We will repeat something I used before. A public broadcast. A man claiming to be me. A provocation. Kira will attempt to kill him." Soichiro tensed. "That man will die." Rimuru's voice was quiet. "Not if I'm there." Aizawa stared at him. "You can stop it?" Rimuru did not promise miracles. He did not lie. "I can try," he said. "If I act immediately, I can keep the person's spirit from tearing away completely. I did it in the hospital." L said, "That is enough." Soichiro's stomach tightened. "Who will volunteer?" L paused. "A condemned criminal. Someone who accepted the role in exchange for protection for his family." Matsuda looked sick. "We're using a person as bait." Rimuru's eyes narrowed. "We are using a person to save many people," he corrected. "And we protect him as much as we can." Soichiro looked at Rimuru. "Can you guarantee he lives?" Rimuru shook his head. "No." The honesty hit the room like a hard wind. Then Rimuru added, "But I can guarantee I will not treat him like a tool. I will speak to him. I will explain. And if he chooses, I will protect him with everything I have." Eld's voice softened just a fraction. "Proceed." Soichiro closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them and nodded. "All right." Outside, Tokyo kept moving. People kept working. Kids kept going to school. And somewhere, in a quiet room, a notebook page waited for a name. The broadcast aired at night. A man in a suit sat under bright lights, facing a camera. His name on the screen was a lie, chosen on purpose. L. Lawliet. Behind the camera, hidden by the set walls, Rimuru stood perfectly still. He was not on the stage. He was not in view. His presence was wrapped in layers of barrier that did not block sound or light, only unwanted interference. Soichiro watched from another room with the task force. His hands were clenched. On the screen, the fake L spoke loudly. "Kira," he said, "you are a murderer." The studio was silent except for the hum of equipment. "I know you are in the Kanto region," the fake L continued, reading from a script. "I will find you, and I will stop you." Rimuru felt the world tighten, not physically, spiritually. It was the same thin pull he had felt in the hospital. A command trying to reach through the air. Somewhere far away, a pen scratched paper. Rimuru's eyes sharpened. He focused on the man's chest. The fake L's breath hitched. His eyes widened. He clutched his heart and fell forward. On the live feed, the world gasped. Soichiro's heart tried to climb out of his throat. Behind the set, Rimuru moved. He did not run. He simply appeared at the man's side, fast and silent. 2 fingers touched the man's forehead. A blue warmth spread, small and controlled. Rimuru's mind caught the death pull like a rope and anchored it, not by breaking the rule, by refusing to let the soul snap free. The man's chest stopped for one terrifying moment. Then it fluttered. Then it beat again, weak but real. Rimuru spoke softly, close to the man's ear. "Stay with me. Breathe." The man's eyes trembled. His lips moved. Air came in, shaky and thin. On the broadcast, the feed cut to emergency music and a technical issue screen. Online, the world exploded. Kira killed L on live TV, but then, minutes later, a leak hit social media. A shaky behind-the-scenes clip. The dead man was on a stretcher, breathing, alive. And standing over him like a calm blue guardian was Rimuru Tempest. The comments came in waves. Kira failed. Kira can't kill him. The blue guy blocked it. He's against Kira. He's the reason Kira's justice is breaking. In the task force room, Matsuda stared at the screen. We just broke Kira's legend. Aizawa's voice was low. We also told Kira we have a way to fight back. Soichiro looked at Rimuru's face on the clip, not proud, not smug, just focused on keeping someone alive. L's voice came through the speaker, sharp and satisfied. We narrowed his location. Kira reacted to a Kanto region broadcast, exactly as expected. Soichiro swallowed. And now, he will react to us. Rimuru's voice came through a phone line from the medical room. Yes, he said quietly. He will come closer. Light Yagami watched the broadcast with perfect stillness. His hand did not shake when he wrote the name. His face did not twist when the feed cut. But when the leaked clip appeared, when the dead man breathed again, something inside Light snapped tight. Impossible, he thought. The death note did not miss. It did not fail. It killed. Unless... Light's eyes narrowed, calculating. Unless the target did die and was brought back. Or unless the target was never fully taken. Either way, someone had placed their hands between Kira and the world. Ryuk floated behind him, eyes bright with excitement. That was amazing. Humans don't usually come back. Light didn't look up. He did it? Ryuk chuckled. The slime protector. Light's jaw tightened. Rimuru Tempest. Ryuk grinned. Ooh, full name now? Light stared at the screen again. Rimuru's face was calm, kind, strong, a symbol that could steal the world's fear away from Kira. Light breathed out through his nose. Recruit, he told himself. If you cannot remove, control. He opened his phone and sent one message. To Misa, I need you. Now. Misa arrived glowing with excitement and fear. Light met her in a quiet apartment he used for safe conversations. His face was gentle. His voice was warm. Misa, he said, you did well? Misa's heart practically jumped. I did? I didn't do anything. Light stepped closer, hands on her shoulders. You are important. You have eyes I don't. Misa blushed. My Shinigami eyes. Light nodded. Yes. Rem stood behind Misa, watching Light with a cold stare. Light ignored Rem like he always did. He treated Shinigami like tools, not beings. Misa, Light said softly, I need you to look at someone. Misa's eyes widened. Who? Light's smile was small and careful. Rimuru, Misa squealed. The blue guy? I met him. He saved me. Light's gaze sharpened just slightly. Good. Then getting close again will be easy. Rem's eyes narrowed. Misa continued, dreamy. He's so nice. Light's voice stayed smooth. Nice can be useful. Rem's voice dropped into Misa's mind like thunder. Do not. Misa flinched, but Light's hand stayed gentle. What's wrong? Misa forced a smile. Nothing. Light leaned in. Bring Rimuru to a quiet place. Tell him you want to thank him properly. Tell him someone wants to talk about peace. Misa nodded fast. Okay. Rem's gaze hardened. She looked at Light like she wanted to tear him in half, but she could not. Not yet. Rimuru agreed to meet Misa because he had a reason beyond politeness. He had seen Rem, and where there was Rem, there was the notebook. He told Soichiro and L the truth in simple words. The girl is connected to a death being, Rimuru said. That means she is close to Kira. Aizawa bristled. So we use her? Rimuru's eyes turned firm. No. We protect her. But we can't ignore her. L's voice came through the speaker. Proceed carefully. Do not reveal our full plan. Do not act alone. Rimuru nodded. I won't. He still prepared. He created 2 slime clones that looked like normal people. He placed them at a distance with cameras. He wrapped himself in a barrier that would not frighten humans, but would catch sudden attacks. He arrived at the meeting place, a quiet park near the edge of the city, late afternoon, when families were still around, and danger was harder to hide. Misa waited near a bench, waving with both hands like she was greeting a celebrity. Rimuru, she called, smiling wide. Rimuru walked up calmly. Misa Amane, he said. Misa blinked. How do you know my name? Rimuru pointed gently at her phone, where her lock screen showed her own fan page. It's everywhere. Misa giggled. Oh, right! Rem stood behind her like a shadow made of iron. Rimuru's eyes flicked to Rem. Rem's gaze was sharp and warning. Rimuru kept his voice soft. Thank you for meeting me. Misa nodded quickly. I wanted to thank you again. And also, someone wants to talk to you. Rimuru tilted his head. Who? Misa's eyes slid to the side. A young man walked toward them on the path, hands in pockets, posture relaxed. Light Yagami. He smiled politely, like a perfect student greeting a teacher. Rimuru Tempest, Light said. It's an honor. Rimuru felt it immediately. Not power. Not magic. Something sharper. Control. This boy's calm did not come from peace. It came from belief that he could win. Rimuru bowed slightly. Polite. Hello. Misa bounced a little. Light is the kindest person. He wants peace too. Light's smile warmed. I do. Rem's eyes looked like knives. Light ignored Rem completely and looked only at Rimuru. I'll be direct, Light said quietly. This world is rotting. Crime, fear, weak laws. Kira is a response. Rimuru's eyes stayed calm. Kira is murder. Light's smile did not break. Kira is justice. Rimuru watched him. No. The word was simple. It carried no rage. It carried certainty. Light's eyes narrowed slightly. You saved people. You built safe houses. You care about order. You understand what a system is. Rimuru nodded once. Yes. Light stepped closer, voice lowering. Then join me. Misa's eyes widened. Join you? Light did not glance at her. With your power and my method, we can end violence forever. Rimuru's voice stayed even. By killing in secret. Light's smile thinned. By removing those who harm others. Rimuru looked at him for a long moment. Then he spoke slowly. In my world, Rimuru said, I made peace by giving enemies a chance to become citizens. I protected people with rules, not fear. Light's eyes sharpened. Fear works. Rimuru shook his head. Fear obeys while you are watching. Then it bites when you turn away. Light's voice cooled. You're wasting time. People are dying. Rimuru's eyes did not move. Yes, and Kira is the one killing them. For the first time, Light's calm face showed a crack of irritation. He leaned in and spoke so softly that only Rimuru could hear. I am Kira, Light whispered. Misa's breath caught. Her eyes shone like stars. Light! Rem's presence surged. Rimuru did not flinch. He did not look shocked. He only felt a heavy sadness because the truth matched the shape of Light's mind. Rimuru spoke quietly. Then you will stop. Light's smile returned. Sharp now. Or what? Rimuru answered honestly. Or I will stop you. Light's eyes flicked down, just for a moment, to a small notebook hidden inside his jacket. He slid it out slightly, fast and practiced. Rimuru's barrier did not stop the notebook from existing, but Rimuru's hand moved like lightning, not to hurt Light, to take the object. Light jerked back, but the notebook was already in Rimuru's palm, held gently yet impossibly firm. Misa gasped. "Hey!" Light's face stayed calm, but his eyes burned. "You don't understand," Light said. Rimuru looked at the notebook. He could feel the wrongness in it. The cold rule. "I understand enough," Rimuru said. Light's fingers slipped into his pocket and his pen moved. Rimuru watched him. Light wrote, "Rimuru Tempest." Light didn't need the face. He was staring at it. He finished the name, then waited. Calm again, like a man waiting for a door to open. Nothing happened. No pull. No thread. No command. Light's pupils tightened. Ryuk, unseen to the humans nearby, burst into silent laughter. He almost fell out of the sky. Misa stared, confused. Why didn't... Rem's eyes narrowed in sudden understanding. Rimuru was not human. The notebook's clean rule didn't fit him. Light's calm cracked fully now into cold anger. "What are you?" he hissed. Rimuru's voice stayed gentle and firm. "Someone you cannot control." Light's eyes flicked to Misa. For a split second, there was a dangerous calculation there, like he was deciding if she was useful or disposable. Rem saw it too. Rem moved, fast. Not with a hand, with a presence that filled the air like a warning bell. "If you harm her, I end you," Rem's gaze said. Light's mouth tightened. He stepped back, lifting both hands slightly like he was calming them down. "Fine," he said. "Keep your rules. Keep your slow justice." His eyes sharpened. "But understand this, Rimuru. The world will choose the one who delivers results." Rimuru held the notebook and looked straight at him. "Then, I will deliver something better," Rimuru said. "A world that doesn't need Kira." Light's smile was thin. "We'll see." He turned and walked away, blending into the park crowd like he was just another student. Misa took a step after him, panicked. "Light, wait!" Rem's voice hit her mind. "Stay!" Misa froze, trembling. Rimuru looked at Misa now, softer. "You are in danger," he said. Misa's eyes filled. "But he loves me." Rimuru's voice stayed kind, not mocking. "He loves his idea of being right." Misa shook her head, tears falling. "No, you don't know him." Rimuru looked at Rem behind her. "I know enough." Rem's eyes stayed hard. "If you expose him, he will use her." Rimuru nodded. "Then we protect her." He handed the notebook to one of his slime clones, who slipped away toward an unmarked car where Aizawa waited. Rimuru turned back to Misa. "Will you come somewhere safe?" Misa hesitated, torn. Then she nodded, small and scared. "Okay." Rem's shoulders loosened slightly, but her eyes stayed on the direction Light walked. Rem had not forgiven. She had only delayed. That night, El didn't celebrate. He listened to Rimuru's report in silence, then asked one question. "Do you have the notebook?" Rimuru nodded. "Yes." "One." El's voice was flat. "So Kira has another." Rimuru's eyes narrowed. "Or pages." El's pause was small, but real. "Yes." Soichiro's face looked hollow. "Light." He said the name like it hurt to even think it. Rimuru looked at him, gentle. "Inspector." "I'm sorry." Soichiro clenched his fists. "No, not yet." "We don't know," El interrupted, calm and brutal. "We do." The room went quiet. Aizawa's jaw tightened. Matsuda looked like he might throw up. Soichiro's voice cracked. "He's my son." Rimuru didn't offer easy comfort. He knew that would be disrespectful. Instead, he offered a clean promise. "I will not let him hurt you," Rimuru said. Soichiro swallowed hard and nodded once, like he was holding himself together with nails. El spoke. "Final operation." Rimuru leaned forward. "Explain." El's plan was simple and sharp. "We cannot rely on a confession," El said. "We cannot rely on public opinion. We must corner him with evidence and control of tools. Aizawa asked, "How?" L replied, "We create a moment where he must act, and we remove his ability to act safely." Rimuru's eyes narrowed. "You want him to reach for the notebook," L said. "Yes." Soichiro's hands trembled. "And if he writes our names?" Rimuru answered quietly. "He can't write what he doesn't know." Matsuda's voice shook. "He knows our faces." Law's voice stayed calm. "We will hide our names. No introductions, no badges, no speaking names." Rimuru nodded. "And I will block the notebook physically." Aizawa scoffed. "What if he has pages?" Rimuru's gaze hardened. "Then I will take his hands. Not break them. Take control. Stop the writing." L continued, "We choose a location with limited exits. We place him there with a reason to believe he can win." Soichiro whispered, "You're baiting my son." L did not soften. "Yes." Soichiro's eyes closed. Rimuru spoke, quiet but firm. "Inspector, this is not revenge. This is protection." Soichiro opened his eyes. They were wet. "I know." L's voice came again, final. "Proceed." The warehouse was empty except for shadows and dust. It sat in an industrial zone near the water, far from crowds, far from cameras. Light entered with calm steps. He believed he was coming to pick up something important. A leaked message had reached him through channels he trusted. The task force had secured a death note and planned to destroy it. They would meet in secret to discuss it. Light could not allow that. He walked in with a pen in his pocket and spare paper folded tight. Ryuk followed him, grinning. Rem was not there. Misa was not there. Light had chosen to move alone. He trusted himself more than anyone. The lights flicked on. Figures stepped out from behind crates. Not many. No names spoken. No badges shown. Light's eyes scanned faces fast. Then he saw him. Rimuru Tempest stood at the center, calm as a wall. Light's lips curved. "You really think you can stop me?" Rimuru's voice was steady. "Yes." L's voice came from a speaker hidden somewhere in the warehouse. "Kira." Light's eyes snapped around. "L." L's voice stayed calm. "You have lost." Light laughed once, sharp. "You don't even know my name?" L replied, "I don't need it." Light's hand slid toward his pocket. Rimuru moved. A clear barrier snapped around Light's arms like a soft cage. Not crushing, not hurting, just stopping. Light's eyes widened as his elbow refused to bend. "Unfair," Light hissed. Rimuru's voice stayed calm. "This is what you did to the world. You removed choice." Light's gaze flicked to Rimuru's hands. "You can't kill me," Rimuru answered honestly. "I don't want to." Light's smile returned, thin and cruel. "Then you can't win." He tried to twist his wrist, to reach the pen anyway. Rimuru tightened the barrier slightly. Light could still breathe, still speak, but he could not write. L's voice came again. "Light Yagami." Soichiro stepped out from the shadows. He looked like a man walking into his own nightmare. "Light," Soichiro said, voice shaking. "Tell me it's not true." Light's eyes met his father's. For a moment, there was something like pain there. Then it hardened into pride. "Father," Light said, "you were always too weak to do what was needed." Soichiro flinched like he'd been slapped. Matsuda, hidden behind a crate with Aizawa, covered his mouth to stop a sound. Soichiro's voice broke. "People are dying." Light's gaze didn't move. "People were dying before me." Rimuru watched the exchange, feeling a quiet anger, not wild, but deep. This was not justice. This was a boy feeding his ego with bodies. L's voice stayed steady. "We have the notebook. We have evidence. We have your admission." Light laughed again. "Admission?" That's not how courts work." He leaned forward slightly, eyes bright. "And even if you arrest me, the world will still want Kira." Rimuru spoke quietly. "Then we show them a world that doesn't." Light's eyes narrowed. "You think you can rebuild human nature?" Rimuru answered simply. "I rebuilt enemies into neighbors." Light's smile twisted. "This is Japan, not your fantasy kingdom." Rimuru's voice stayed calm. "People are people." Light's gaze slid to the speaker location, then back. "Where is El?" El's voice did not answer that. Light's eyes sharpened with sudden understanding. "You're afraid," Light said. "You still hide your name, your face." "Your life." El's voice came colder now. "And you hide behind a notebook." Light's barriered hands twitched. "I don't need to write your name. I can write theirs." His eyes flicked toward Soichiro. Soichiro's breath caught. Rimuru's eyes narrowed sharply. "No." Light's smile widened like he'd found a crack. "You won't kill," Light said. "You won't even hurt me. So you can't stop me forever." Rimuru's voice dropped. Firm. "You are wrong." He lifted one hand. The air in front of Light shimmered. A second barrier formed, around Light's mouth, not suffocating, just blocking speech. Light's eyes widened in fury as his words turned into muffled sounds. Rimuru looked at Soichiro. "Step back." Soichiro stumbled backward, tears on his face. Aizawa and Matsuda moved in, hands ready to cuff. But before they could touch Light, a laugh echoed overhead. Ryuk landed lightly on a beam, grinning down at them like a child watching ants. Only Rimuru could see him clearly. Rimuru's eyes lifted. Ryuk's grin widened even more. "This is the best show," Ryuk said, voice playful. Rimuru spoke quietly, only for Ryuk. "It ends now." Ryuk tilted his head. "Does it?" Rimuru's voice stayed calm. "Kira cannot rule, not with fear, not with death." Ryuk chuckled. "You're fun. You're like a referee who can punch gods." Rimuru didn't react to the joke. "Give me the other notebooks." Ryuk laughed. "No." Rimuru's eyes narrowed. "Then this will never end." Ryuk's grin stayed, but his eyes became more serious for a second, like something old looked through them. "That's the thing," Ryuk said. "All human games end." Rimuru felt a presence behind Ryuk, far away, like a throne you could not see. The Shinigami realm watching. The king watching. Ryuk dangled his legs like he didn't care. Then he pulled out his own death note, casual as if it was a snack wrapper. Light on the floor still struggled, eyes wild. Ryuk looked down at him and spoke like he was bored now. "Light Yagami," Ryuk said. "You lost." Light's eyes widened in panic. He tried to scream. The barrier muffled it. Ryuk's pen moved. Rimuru watched, understanding the rule at last. Shinigami did not need permission. They didn't need a trial. They didn't need fear. They just wrote. Ryuk finished the name. Light's body jerked once. Then he went still. The warehouse fell silent. Soichiro made a sound that was not a word. He fell to his knees, shaking. Matsuda froze, eyes wide, unable to process it. Aizawa's hand tightened around his gun, then loosened. There was nothing to shoot. Rimuru stood still, watching Light's chest. No breath, no pull to anchor. This time, the death was complete. Clean. Final. Ryuk tucked the notebook away like nothing happened, and sighed. "Humans," he said, almost fond. Always so dramatic. Rimuru's voice was quiet. "Why?" Ryuk shrugged. "Because I was bored. And because you made the game more interesting than Light did." Rimuru's eyes stayed firm. This world suffered for his game. Ryuk grinned again. That's what makes games fun. Rimuru's gaze hardened, but he did not attack. He understood something important. Killing Ryuk would not heal anything. It would only start another war, with the rules behind death. So Rimuru chose the path he always chose: containment, structure, protection. He turned to Aizawa. "Take the notebook we have. Seal it. Do not touch it with bare hands. Keep it in a box. No names. No tests." Aizawa swallowed and nodded. Rimuru looked at Soichiro, still kneeling. Soichiro's face was broken. Rimuru stepped closer, slow and careful, like approaching someone on the edge of a cliff. "Inspector," Rimuru said softly, "I'm sorry." Soichiro's voice was a whisper. "He was my son," Rimuru nodded. "Yes." Soichiro looked up with wet eyes. Was there any good in him?" Rimuru paused. He did not lie. "There was," Rimuru said. "He wanted a better world. But he chose a path that only made him bigger, not the world better." Soichiro's shoulders shook. He covered his face. Rimuru looked up at the beam. Ryuk was gone. But the feeling remained. A final cold pressure, like a stamp placed on a file. The Shinigami realm had accepted the end of this round. For now. The next morning, Tokyo woke up without a new list of deaths. People refreshed their phones. No names, no heart attacks, no message from Kira. At first, they did not believe it. Then hours passed. Then a full day. The fear didn't vanish, but it loosened, like a tight fist opening a little. At the NPA, L spoke to the task force through the speaker, calm as ever. "Kira is dead," L said. Matsuda swallowed. "Are we safe?" L paused. "Safer?" Aizawa asked. "What about the notebooks?" Rimuru answered. "We seal them." He had already built the container, a layered barrier box inside a normal metal safe, inside a secure room, inside a building with no public label. A cage for a cage. Not perfect, but enough. L's voice came again. "Rimuru, you will be watched." Rimuru nodded. "I expect that." L continued. "And you will not become a new Kira." Rimuru's eyes were steady. "I will not." Soichiro did not speak. He sat in his office alone, staring at a family photo on his desk, hands shaking. Rimuru stood at the doorway, quiet. Soichiro's voice finally came out, small. "If I had been a better father." Rimuru did not let him drown in that thought. He spoke gently, but firmly. If Light wanted love more than control, he would have chosen it. This is not on you alone. Soichiro's eyes filled again. He nodded once, like he was holding onto a rope. Rimuru stepped back. He had done what he came to do. Not by becoming a secret god, not by writing names, by standing in front of death's rules and saying, again and again, no. And now the world had to learn how to live without the shortcut. A week later, Rimuru stood on a rooftop at sunrise. Tokyo stretched out beneath him, gray and bright at the same time. Trains moved like thin lines. People walked like dots. Life continued because it always did. Rimuru held a small notebook in his hand. Not a death note. It was the task force meeting notebook he had made, full of lists and plans and simple rules. He flipped to the last page and wrote in clean letters. New routine. Behind him, quiet footsteps approached. L stepped onto the roof, hands in his pockets, hair messy, eyes heavy. He stopped a few steps away and stared at Rimuru. Rimuru did not turn right away. He let the city breathe. L spoke first. You stayed? Rimuru nodded. Yes. L's voice was flat. You could have left the moment Light died. Rimuru turned slightly, calm. I could have. Why didn't you? L asked. Rimuru looked out over the streets again. Because the notebook is not the only problem, Rimuru said. The hunger for easy justice is still here. L stared. You think you can fix human hearts? Rimuru shook his head. No. I can't fix them, but I can help build safer paths so fear doesn't choose for them. El crouched on the rooftop ledge like he always did, staring down. You realize people will fear you next, El said. Rimuru's voice stayed simple. Yes. And if they fear you, El continued, they will try to control you. Rimuru nodded. Yes. El's eyes narrowed. What will you do then? Rimuru's answer came without drama. I will keep doing what I did, Rimuru said. I will protect people, and I will not kill in secret. El watched him for a long moment. You are very powerful, El said, and very stubborn. Rimuru's mouth moved into a small smile. That might be true. El's gaze sharpened. And you saw Ryuk. Rimuru's smile faded. Yes, El asked. Where is he now? Rimuru looked toward the sky. Watching. Or gone. I can't control him. El's voice stayed calm, but there was weight under it. Then this isn't over. Rimuru nodded. No, but it's different now. Below, a police car passed, siren off, just moving through morning traffic. A school kid ran to catch a friend, laughing. A store opened its shutters. Normal sounds. Rimuru opened his small notebook again and wrote a short list. Simple enough for a child. Protect the weak. Tell the truth. No secret killing. Power must answer to rules. He closed the notebook and held it at his side. El's eyes flicked to it. You really like writing rules. Rimuru glanced at him. Rules help people share a world. El's mouth didn't change, but his eyes softened a fraction. Be careful. The wrong people like rules too. Rimuru nodded. I know. A door to the roof opened again. Soichiro stepped out, slower than before, looking like he carried stones in his chest. He walked to the edge and stared at the city. He did not speak for a long time. Then he whispered. I can't hear him anymore. Rimuru understood. Soichiro meant the constant dread, the constant thought of light, the constant fear of another death. Rimuru spoke softly. That silence hurts. Soichiro nodded, tears in his eyes, but he didn't break this time. Yes. El stood up. We continue, he said, like a command to himself. Soichiro looked at Rimuru. What will you do? Rimuru looked at the sunrise and answered simply. I will work, Rimuru said. A peaceful world is not a wish. It's work. The sunlight climbed higher. Tokyo kept moving. And somewhere, far beyond sight, death's rules stayed quiet. Not because they were gone, but because someone had finally refused to use them like a toy.